Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mostly Come Out at Night.
Mostly.
Okay, so I have to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, why is there no
Why we didn't go live at 12. We promised you guys. We messed up.
something? Hey, listen, you're still getting a live stream.
It's happening next week. We are still doing it, so don't worry.
Are you saying that you were hyped up for something and you were disappointed?
I mean,
Oh, honey. Boy.
I was kind of disappointed we had to cancel the live stream today.
We were also disappointed with something else.
But,
too.
man, we got disappointed with, way more. The disappointments kept on coming.
But wait, there's more.
So...
Please.
Before we get into this huge disappointment, still go on our YouTube. Still subscribe.
What will happen next Sunday?
I promise we are doing a live stream. It's just going to be next Sunday. Shit came up. Life happens.
Life happens.
So something came up. Yeah, just go subscribe there. Follow us. We're going live on Sunday, but you can also listen to all our other episodes on there. We're getting a huge subscriber base on there, so it's great. And you can even suggest it. We're actually planning on doing some suggestions from the YouTube comments, and we've done some. So
we'll have one for episode 190.
If you suggest it, we'll get to it. It might take a minute, but we'll get to it. But yeah, and we're on all podcasting sites.
Anywhere you find us, please give us a follow.
So that's my little podium. I'm done. And now we can be utterly disappointed by a movie that started pretty good, and I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to talk about it. It takes a giant fucking dump all over your expectations.
Metalstorm, The Destruction of Jared-Syn is the movie we watched, and
if you like fantasy metal, I think you might actually like some of the imagery in this movie.
If you like Mad Max,
yeah,
because I'm not gonna lie, this is literally
it's a rip-off of Mad Max. Let's just be honest.
Trust me, it's a blatant wannabe rip-off.
It
Mad
does
Max
do things differently enough
with
to
some Star Wars.
There's
sprinkled in
a lot of fantasy, sci-fi elements thrown in there. Of the Chosen One and magical beings and magical crystals and just
weird hallucinations.
Shit, which actually it culminates to a pretty enjoyable watch until the last fucking 15 minutes of the movie.
Until the movie just
squanders. It takes a giant shit. It shits the bed hard. I'm not even gonna lie. I am so disappointed right now. Because I was okay with this movie, to be honest.
Well, I guess it makes sense because it's you're watching it and I'm like, I don't know why this has such a low rating. Yeah, I get people don't get their B movies, but I don't know. Man, then you get to the ending.
One it did have an air of just those B movie sci-fi,
which is fine. I'm fine with that.
Films. I'm okay with that because I actually I kind of like some of those. They're pretty good. And I thought this one would be. I really did. But we'll get to it. Just so you know, if you're one of those people that watches, listens to our introduction and then goes watches the movie and then follows along with us, you're not gonna like.
I can't recommend this. I really can't.
I was going to until the ending, because I was having a ride. It was fun. It was I was enjoying it. It was a nostalgia trip,
building up to something,
and it was okay, cool, yeah, this is awesome. I'm sure the ending will be pretty decent. I know it's gonna be crazy because the rest of the movie is crazy. So why wouldn't it be crazy? You think why wouldn't they just keep following the same formula they've been following?
Why wouldn't you want to make a lit ending?
But no, they just go limp. They got ED at the end of the fucking movie and just couldn't get it up anymore.
It's yeah, you took down.
They blue balls us.
No, the movie dropped its pants, and turns out they have a little micro penis for you.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, it's
you
think they have just this
diamond dick,
this fucking huge thing, this rattlesnake that they're just gonna fucking unveil on
And
you,
then
right?
it's just the
And they
micro
pull their
penis.
pants down, it's a fucking micro
You have to
penis.
use a magnifying glass, and that's it. That's your movie. I don't know. Let's
Let's get
let's
into
just go
it
through it
because I'm sure people are curious. So let's get into it.
so it's. I mean, like literally, the movie just starts. It's a guy
It's a guy in like a homemade vehicle
driving around, very Mad Max.
driving around like a desolate wasteland desert. There's no like towns or anything, obviously, because they just filmed it in like a canyon in like California.
It's the post-apocalypse, Will.
Well, yeah, and I understand.
But yes, it is
But
it's like a mine. I'm not joking. It's like a canyon and like a mine because you know how like
well, yeah, there's like caves and shit, right?
well there's caves, but there's like very convenient like roads that like
Mhm.
the mining vehicles drive on, and like at the bottom of the mines, you know how they have like the water reservoirs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's whatever.
It's fine.
It's fine. So we get a guy driving around. We kind of get this world building thing where he's like driving around and he sees like some guys like watching him that only has like their left eye is all like
Their right eye.
their right eye like has like skin like formed over it, and they look all like kind of a little like deformed.
It's like yeah, it's like a giant scar where like the skin is just formed over their left eye, and then some of them they don't like. Some of them also wear a mask that covers just that like right eye.
Yeah, they wear like a helmet that covers the right eye. I
But
don't
you
know
see
why,
him
but-
driving around, and
but-
he gets like attacked.
Well, and like the guy's on like this flying speeder, and he's like
But this
following
is actually-
behind. Well, okay, it still looks dumb, but at
Here's the
least
thing.
it doesn't like overstay its welcome.
But at least this, it's like, you know, he's because if you've seen like Return of the Jedi, it's like that where like they're on the thing and they use like rear screen projection to simulate that they're like flying in the air, right? Which I mean, it's pretty basic, but it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, it's just a guy it's just a guy leaning over like and like holding handlebars.
But it's like he has him. You see him shooting lasers at the car.
Yeah, because I mean they like they edit him in like
Yeah.
flying behind the guy and shooting lasers, and so
But you see like
Our
laser
dude-
shooting, and like the guy's car has like a laser on it, and it gets blown up.
and then he does this like 180, blasts the guy, and he like avoids the laser, but then runs right into like the cliff.
And you see the thing run to the cliff and explode.
Yeah, and like it's like has a dummy on it and everything, and you're like, okay,
In the meantime, there is
it's a daughter and a father like mining
Mining.
for crystals.
they're like prospectors.
Yes. Well, and they're talking about how they shouldn't be here. It's like forbidden land. Like they're gonna get in trouble. Like they could die. And then, sure enough, they find this giant crystal, and they go out of the mine and are looking at it, and a bunch of like baddies roll up, including one of the main baddies. It's like the main bad guy's son, the main antagonist's son.
It's a guy with like he
He's
has
like
like
I don't. It never explains like why he looks the way he looks like.
It's fine. We don't need it.
So he's like a cyborg, like half face, and he's painted all green. He looks
And
like a
he
zombie
talks
almost.
through like a voice box.
Yeah,
And he has a metal arm.
and the metal arm sprays like green goop.
So, you know, they tell because the dad's out there, he tells the daughter to run back in the cave. He tells the dad like you're trespassing, like we have to kill you, like
One of
this is
the
Jared-Syn's land now.
I like Jared.
Jared.
Nothing strikes fear in your heart like
The name
a
Jared.
an antagonist of the name Jared.
Fucking Jared.
Fucking Jared. I mean, his full name is Jared-Syn, but that doesn't make it any
doesn't
more
make it-
menacing. It really doesn't. So they like take the crystal and they smash it right in front of the
Smash it, and then
and then
they
the guy's like arm like it's actually a pretty cool. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm gonna
cool
praise it here.
effect.
That effect is pretty cool because like it like shuttles out and then like locks and then like two prongs come out.
and it sprays a green. He gets slimed like it's fucking Nickelodeon basically,
Well, it's weird because it's like just a little bit on like his breast pocket,
and it starts like melting.
and then he like like lays down and like starts like hallucinating or something.
Yeah, he starts hallucinating,
And then Jared's there.
and it turns into a fucking 80s music video where it's all slow mo and blue light and fog,
Yeah, it's like a black sound stage and like
and the
fog
ground is just like
everywhere and blue light like shining on each of the
and the
characters.
ground is just like little pieces of metal.
You said it looks like there's like a fantasy metal band called Manowar.
Well,
It looks
the later, the last, dream hallucination sequence before the movie takes a dump looks like a man.
but all these like hallucination scenes you could probably play any like fantasy metal over and it would be okay.
Yeah, like Iron Maiden or something like that. Just play it over that, and there you go. But yeah, it's like it's all in slow mo, and like Jared-Syn comes out and touches a crystal,
To his neck and the guy
and it glows.
the dad screams and then he's dead. So we
It's fine.
get like okay, so and then so our Mad Max character, I can't
He-
remember his name, but do they even say his name?
They do, and it was so
Oh, it's like yeah, like Dogol or something
Dogol
like
or some
I
weird
can't, I
shit.
can't even remember, but like, he goes and like looks at like the
The wreckage
of the
the pilot guy that he
Mhm.
shot down, or that he helped smash into a fucking cliff,
yeah.
and he finds a crystal, a red crystal.
So he's wondering what it is, and so he
It has
goes.
like an inscription on it or something.
He's like driving around, and he sees like the. Doesn't he see like the mining site?
Yeah, he sees it.
And he like goes and like starts inspecting it and sees the father laying dead on the
The dead
ground.
body, and then the daughter comes out and points a gun at him. They basically talk about how basically her dad was killed by people they work for Jared-Syn, and our guy is also looking for Jared-Syn.
Is it a seeker or a finder?
He's a finder.
Yes.
Yeah, finder. And he's looking for Jared-Syn. That's it. That's
So he's like, I need some guy to look at this crystal for me. Like, I don't know what it means.
Do you
I don't
know anybody?
Yeah. And she's like, I know someone, but like, I'm doing this to find my dad's killer.
And he's like, that's fine. Like we both are looking for the same person. In the meantime, Jared-Syn, it shows him in like his cave lair with a bunch of dudes in they look like the sand people from Star Wars, and he's like telling them like how he's collecting all these crystals.
He's like, it's necessary and we must do it and we have to complete this sacrifice. Like, I know it might seem hard, but we have to do this. And he gives like them a bunch of like red crystals. This
also goes nowhere.
Just forget about this scene completely because like they never mention this ever again.
But yeah, he gives them all these crystals, and it's like he's using these crystals to like take over the world, basically.
Yeah, because the power of the crystals is like super strong, and especially he's like manipulating these people because they believe a lot in this.
We see him take a crystal, and in front of them, he like kills a guy with it.
Yeah,
he just touches it to his neck, and the guy dies immediately. But our guy and the girl, they get to this guy's cave,
which
again.
is it's a cave with a fucking like arch of PVC pipe everywhere and hanging crystals on it.
It looks like those like storage things you get at like IKEA or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
So he's like, yeah, I can look at this for you. Like,
he like puts it on like a fucking ornament, and he like shoots a laser at it,
and it like bounces off 3 other crystals and like
and then suddenly,
illuminates it.
And it starts moaning. And he finds out that like these crystals are storing like life force from like people who are dead. So like,
now, if you're us, you're starting to think, okay, they're building this up for like an epic ending, right? Where it's just like some weird shit could happen because they're storing crystals with souls,
people's souls in them.
Throughout this commentary, I'm going to just keep raising your expectations because this is what happened with us, okay? And then you'll know the pain of the ending, okay? Because I don't want you to go out and watch this movie.
The pain.
I just want you to know the pain. So you're expecting some pretty cool stuff happening because now they're storing souls and crystals and they can, manipulate time and space with them as we see in the next few scenes. And yeah, just know that like it's getting okay, you know? Like you're like,
Yeah, it's
okay,
fun.
cool. Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
fun.
fun. It's like fantasy, sci-fi, just a culmination of the two. You're having a good time.
But he also tells him that this, like, there's an inscription on the crystal, and it has to do with this lost city.
Yeah,
And
and
there's
there's
only
like
one. He
there's
knows one man who knows possibly how to find this lost city.
and there's like a legend of a mask
A
that can
mask.
you can like wield like pretty much unlimited power
Yeah.
with this mask.
And so he tells him where this guy is. They leave. In the meantime, they drive around, get into a car chase.
I love this car chase too because like literally almost every single car that's chasing them careens off of something and explodes, or goes off a cliff and explodes,
It's great.
or even just like gets tipped over and explodes for no reason.
And it's funny because it's like, it's a Mad Max ripoff, so they're driving like at half the speed of the cars in Mad Max, but it's still fine because you know what? Everything explodes.
It looks slow, but like your lizard brain is appeased because stuff is
Because
exploding
it's like handmade cars exploding.
and it's like real stunts. So it's
It's
great.
real stunts. And we get all this stuff, and then they kind of
Emphasis on real stunts.
they get cornered, and they have like a little shootout because the guy with the fucking green goop, he sprays a little bit of it on our hero, and he gets like incapacitated.
So like the woman like takes him into shelter. Well, because like she like shoots one of them, and like this. I love how the son is just like he just flees at the first sign of danger.
So the guy with the green goop he's the son of Jared-Syn, and he is the biggest bitch villain ever. Because he sits on this
like
fucking car, and there's a giant turret on that car.
and he's like right behind it, and he never uses it
Never uses it. He
in the entire
just
movie.
sprays goop at people.
Well, he also like literally like she like while he sprays the goop, he gets hit, like our hero gets hit in the leg, and she like shoots one of the like minion guys, and they all just run away.
They just run away.
And so
They're sitting in a cave.
she like takes him to a shelter, and she's like holding him, and
She's cradling him like a
and he's
baby.
like hallucinating again, and he sees Jared, and like fucking I love calling him just Jared. I'm not gonna even call him
Just call him
Jared-Syn
Jared, dude.
because like because I think it's funnier calling
Because he
him
just
Jared.
comes out. Well, it's like him and like his.
It's like the
goons.
cronies. It's like the masters of evil right here.
And then he just comes out of the fog, and like he's going up to him, and in the hallucination he's laying
He's
in,
like-
in her arms, and then he's like,
Together you're strong,
"I can't touch you."
but I'm going to separate you.
And then he wakes up, he looks at her, they talk, and he like kisses her because he
then-
realizes that they're strong together.
He's like, yeah, we have a bond and everything. And then you see Jared just sitting there with a crystal like figurine.
He's just sitting by a fireplace, and like
Well, it's weird because
Suddenly-
it's like I don't know what this scene is because it's just him awkwardly sitting on a fireplace for like way too fucking long, like 30 seconds.
it's almost.
Like that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but like just sitting there staring at someone for 30 seconds is a long time in film. Okay.
And and eventually, like, she starts, like, getting, like, kind of, like, she, like, holds her hand to her head, and then she stands up and, like, glows red.
Well, you see Jared holding out this fucking figure of a crystal, like, girl.
And it's like, I will separate you. And she gets, like, turns it all red.
It's one of the weirdest
And teleports.
kidnapping scenes I've ever seen.
Truly. He teleports her to his base. And this crystal figurine, he teleports that to our main character, and it's like an electric monster.
And so the guy like starts trying to fight it and shoot it, and like nothing's happening.
Nothing works.
Because it's made of pure electricity. And then he shoots he shoots the canyon, and a little trickle of water starts coming out of it.
A little baby puddle.
And then the guy like backs up, and the thing just steps in this little tiny puddle of water and dies.
Yeah. And that's it for
It's
Electric
fucking-
Monster. But
it's
now
amazing.
they're split up. And he goes to this like city.
It's like just this
Camp.
like hodgepodge tent
You seen
city.
Star Wars?
Yeah. They go to a cantina,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows the bartender, and he's like, I'm looking for Rhodes. And she's like, well, that'll cost you. And he like pays her. He's like, I need the whole bottle. And it's just like a fucking like car part cylinder thing that they make. Like they just fucking.
It's fucking adorable.
It just looks like a fucking like a cylinder.
And then and then he goes and like sits down with Rhodes and starts talking. And the guy also used to be a finder, and now he just drinks.
But he's like a hardened like.
He's like the Han Solo stand-in, basically.
He's like a war veteran, I guess, because
and
even in the future scene, they say like he was part of the Sand War.
well, because our main guy comments on his bad sense of fashion.
Yep. So anyway, he like talks to Rhodes and goes out because they know where to go now, because they're gonna go to the Badlands.
Well, don't forget, he walks outside.
Right, and he gets in a standoff.
Because Rhodes initially is like, I don't know. But he gets in a fucking Western standoff because these two guys are beating up some dude.
One of like the sand people, and like they're just beating him up for no reason.
And he goes there and like looks at him, and then the guy's just, it goes all slow-mo.
Well, I guess there is some context because like the sand people are like uprising, and they've like broken a treaty of like non-violence
against Jared-Syn.
Yeah, because Jared is like having them attack people.
Yeah.
And so there's like a war. They're on the precipice of a war.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Again,
psyching you up for some pretty exciting stuff at the end, right? Like they're on a precipice of a war. Like the peace treaty has been broken. Like we got our
like you have this whole clan of people that maybe they'll help in the fight at the end. There's gonna be something big.
You think there's gonna be something huge, right? Because it's like Jared seems like a bad mamma jamma, and like his son's a little bitch, but like maybe can hold his own. You don't know, but
yeah.
Anyway, so he gets in a standoff with the three guys that were beating the shit out of this sand guy,
and
a
like fucking Western duel in slow mo.
And then he like shoots one, and then like slowly turns to the other guy and gets his gun shot out of his hand.
And he's about to get shot, and then Rhodes
saves him,
zaps him. And then they drive away. And
I do love every time they show Rhodes and him in the car. They are uncomfortably close because it's like this little makeshift car.
And
they crammed the two like seats together because it's all they could fit.
And they're just bobbing their heads back and forth as they're driving.
Oh, it's great.
And we get another like, oh no, we get
It's another
they
car
go to
chase.
the fucking, they find the city. Or the remains of it or whatever, and it's like all foggy. They're walking around, and you see like they're walking on like sand, and there's like movement. And then eventually, our guy walks up to it's like this throne, and there's like this like demon figurine.
And there's like a box, and so he like
the box,
and there's a glass like mask, a crystal mask in there.
He gets the mask, and then
it looks kind of stupid, but you're invested at this point, so
it's fine. And Rhodes, he gets like, it's like quicksand, so he gets stuck in sand, and then our main guy also gets stuck in there, and then they start getting attacked by these like snake things.
Yeah, these like worm snake things.
And they bite them, and they shoot them. They get out, and then our guy has the mask, and then eventually they get out, and then immediately they get confronted by the people with like the half face.
You took the mask, and he's like, yep, my friend did, because like Rhodes is like throwing him under the bus, and then he's like, okay, you'll live, and then like the main guy's like, my friend's too modest.
We both did.
We both did it. And he's like, well, you're both gonna die for trespassing on our land.
It's like, well, you're brave, but you're still gonna die for trespassing. You have to fight.
And he's like, it's still law that you have to like do like a fight to the death
in the pit. And we cut to a
God.
tiny little baby pit, and they have an awkward fucking
because they're like
fight.
holding the string between them, and they're fighting with these like dull ass sighs.
And they're just super. It's
it's like
childish.
it's like the worst choreography I've ever seen.
You can't even call it choreography
because like the guy will hold up the sai right before the other guy like throws it down. Like
he has time.
Yeah,
he has time to like think and maybe change his angle, but no.
It doesn't look fluid at all. It just looks awkward, and it's hilarious to watch, actually.
And then eventually, he cuts like the string, the rope,
and like threatens the guy, but lets him live. And so now they're on his side, basically, because
he respects him and tells him like, you know, like we're both fighting against the same man.
They basically tell him this is how they know where the sun is. So they basically tell him where the sun is because the sun is trying to like, you know, control them. And so they just take their fucking car and just ram it through the like they just
This thing
hop over a fucking hill and like
murder a stuntman.
Yeah, like fucking almost kill a stuntman. It looks pretty fucking cool, but like I'm glad that guy survived.
They run they destroy fucking son's beautiful styrofoam bricks.
They're like cases of something, but it's just it's very apparent that it's just styrofoam.
It just falls apart like styrofoam.
And
it's
then,
adorable.
like they're just like rolling around in circles, shooting everyone.
And there's cars rolling
exploding, and then they get into a car chase where the sun again sits on top of a turret and does fucking nothing.
Does nothing.
And like we get a bunch more explosions. Another car goes off this giant ass cliff and like rolls a bunch of times while exploding. It's fucking cool as fuck.
And then after all this, like they're at like a lake.
Yeah.
And Rhodes is like kind of cleaning himself up, and the guy puts on the mask. And it turns into a fucking Man-O-War video because he's all fucking naked and sweaty.
He goes out to like a burning fucking tree.
He has an axe in his hand,
and then he puts the axe into the tree and it starts bleeding.
And then like he shows him the mask again, and he takes it off, and he gets like a warning, like they're coming.
Well, and then we get the sun. The sun
show up.
The sun and like one of the guys throws like a ninja star, and Rhodes pushes our main guy out of the way and like gets hit in the fucking forehead.
And so he falls down, and our guy wrestles with the sun and rips his arm off in slow-mo.
Which is hilarious because it's pretty apparent all the fucking acid went all over the guy, but like in the next scene, he's totally clean.
It's fine. And the sun just runs away like a bitch.
Yeah, he just runs away. And I love how the next scene we see of the son, he's just laying down.
By his dad.
Yeah, he's just laying down by his daddy.
Well, don't forget, like, because, you know, our guy runs up to Rhodes, and Rhodes is, like, incapacitated, and this is where you can tell the movie's fucking...
There's a certain turning point where you can tell the movie takes the biggest fucking shit.
There is a scene later where the movie just shits on your face, but this is, like, the fart. Because it's like we have our sidekick, right? He has a scratch on his head, like he's fine, but he's just laying on the ground, and he's like, "I'll be fine.
I'll come back for you.
I'll come back for you." And it's like, okay,
why?
Okay, but you know, it's not totally bad yet.
No,
but
I mean,
it's a sign.
It's fine. Like the movie hasn't been, it's been pretty awesome, but it hasn't been like a really great movie, but like, you know, it's enjoyable.
But it's like,
and you're pretty invested by this point because it's almost the end of the movie, right?
But
so
this
you're
is
just
the fart. This is the sign of why is this guy? Why is the sidekick like just incapacitated now? Whatever.
So our dude just goes to the fucking ritual where
they're having a ritual where
Jared's saying like, basically they have this giant fucking crystal.
It has all the
souls and like it's connected to the red because like he puts the red like crystal and that stores the souls into the giant crystal.
So they have all this insane like magical powers.
And so basically what he's doing is he's saving the woman so he can sacrifice her in front of our main dude and then sacrifice him and become like the ultimate sorcerer of the crystals.
Basically. And so, you know, they're getting all this ready, and our guy just walks in.
Quick side note, I was expecting some like Ark of the Covenant kind of shit, some fucking crazy
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, like some crazy sorcery shit.
Because
they've been building it up like they're building up all the fucking crystals. He has the fucking crystal mask that can fight against this fucking giant soul crystal. Mm-hmm. They have a giant soul crystal, for that matter, that stores a bunch of fucking souls, and they can maybe be unleashed or like have a lot of power.
He implied earlier that he can like unleash them, and I was thinking like, oh, is he gonna like we're gonna get zombies, we're gonna get ghosts.
Well, he can also control them, so like an Army of the Dead kind of thing. There's so much potential here, right?
And our main guy, has a Power Rangers mask.
Yes. Like, turn him into like a Crystal Avenger or something like that. Like a crystal seeker that's like adorned in fucking crystals and like
He puts on the mask and becomes a badass. Like,
yeah, just fucking like houses
anything.
every single fucking one of them, just bodies them.
Anything.
But like anything. But there is a certain point, because this is where the movie takes where it shits the bed. There is a certain point that happens, and let's lead up to it. So the guy,
he gets there.
he's like walking through, and I'm just like, okay, like why is no one literally realizing this is like the finder?
And they start having a confrontation, and the guy that he like dueled with earlier is there, and Jared starts telling him like kill him.
One like the guy's like, no, he's my friend. Let him speak. Like let him speak his piece.
And he basically says like Jared's like he's just trying to take over the whole wasteland.
I still love every time we're talking about the ultimate evil bad guy, Jared.
He's just like he's taking over the whole wasteland, and he's just using you. He's gonna like kill everybody. He's gonna kill all of you. He doesn't care about you. And he believes them.
So they start turning on him, but he like has the power of the crystal already, so he's
just like pointing with his hands and shooting
like
at
the crystal like shooting these giant lasers at him, right?
And then our guy just takes like the mask and starts deflecting them, and he deflects one of them, and it lights a tree on fire.
And I love the evil Jared's like, ooh, the tree's on fire. That's a sign you're not going to win.
You're not gonna win. And then it keeps going.
And I'm like, hell yeah, hell yeah, this is gonna fucking get lit. And like he deflects it again, and then like the son gets up from his fucking bed and just daintily smacks the like mask out of this dude's hand, and like shatters all over the ground. And that's when your expectations of this movie should shatter with it, because from this point on,
it's shit.
It's complete shit. This movie it's fucking trash
because
after this.
He fucking shatters it. The guy with like the scar on his face stabs the son to death, and then we get like a fucking like I don't even know, like Jared just does a thing with his hands and then he's gone.
He just disappears, and our dude just somehow knows where exactly Jared's gone.
He runs across the valley, gets in one of those fucking flying
speeder things,
and then takes off. And by the way, this whole scene's been nighttime. Now it's daytime, and it's bad.
Oh, it's bad. It's like 5 minutes long too. It's like it's so awkwardly long, because like, you get this speeder chase
through,
but it's like this long, boring speeder chase where you can tell they just like
it's so slow.
Well, like they're doing the same shit, and we get a lot of like ass shots of like our fucking like protagonist,
and then shots of like them like sitting on this thing
and just like looking behind them,
looking behind them.
Like, okay, they're not.
And every minute a laser will fire off and hit nothing, and we get like POV shots of like they mounted a camera to a helicopter and had it like fly around, and it's just like this sped up footage of it flying around, and it's so.
Dude, it's so bad.
I was trying.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, it is just like, it's boring as shit. It's not even like hilariously bad, right?
No, I was trying so
boring
hard
as shit
to be into it, but it's so boring.
Well, because the rest of the movie, you're just like, yeah, this is pretty exciting. I'm kind of into, but this is like the fucking worst. It's just like, okay, cool. So this is how they're gonna. I'm like, okay, all right. You know what? And a little tiny shred of me, right, was still kind of invested, because
I was too, because I was like, okay.
I'm like, maybe after this it gets like, you know, the end confrontation is pretty fucking lit, right? Yeah. Like maybe.
Well, because he's flying.
Maybe they can salvage this thing.
And then Jared is like powers of Set open to me, speak to me, and I'm thinking like, okay, it's starting. Like, we're gonna get some weird shit, right?
We get like a black hole that opens in the middle of the fucking desert, and he flies into it, and then you get this weird like triangle thing going around.
They're still doing the boring shit, and then
they're still doing this same.
Our main
boring
guy
shit.
Flies in the thing, and it's still doing it, and then they're just flying through it, and then suddenly
Well, suddenly our fucking Jared just disappears. Just fucking vanishes. Doesn't get hit by a laser, mind you. Just vanishes. And then our guy like just comes out of the black hole and is back in the desert.
And looks around, doesn't see him.
And I'm just like, no fucking way.
And I'm like, what the hell?
I'm like, there's no way they're gonna end it like this.
And then he goes back, and then he goes back to like where everyone is, and he's just like basically tells them Jared is like he's in the crystal. He's in the crystal realm, and then the guy's like, that means he can show up anywhere.
He's like,
anytime.
I'm gonna go after him. I need to find him.
I will get him.
And like he like walks off, and I'm like, okay, like there's maybe he fucking tries to appear and fucking like gets blasted. Gets
well, in my head,
roasted.
I'm like, this can't be it.
Yeah, same. I was in disbelief. I was like, there is no fucking way
they're gonna end a movie like this.
It is so bold to assume that this kind of fucking movie would get a sequel.
Well, even if it did, why would you end it like that?
You wouldn't. But anyway, so he like walks up to the road and like our fucking like the sidekick.
He blows up the crystal.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he instead of like just trying to figure it out and utilize it, he just fucking fires a bolt at the fucking crystal and just shatters it.
But yeah, he goes up. It's just them walking on a road, and his
then
sidekick
our fucking sidekick pulls up and is like, "You need a ride? I knew you weren't done like looking, or whatever, looker."
And then
And then they drive off, and fucking dirt covers the camera in movie.
Dirt covers the camera. Yeah, there you go. How fitting.
He fucking got
dirt covered the camera for the last 15
minutes. Like if you
were
excited about the end of this movie, you will have serious egg on your face at the fucking end of this movie. It's fucking like it just fucking shits all over your expectations of like how this movie was going to end.
I can't believe.
Like, cause it's just crazy to me because like yes, it's not a great movie. But, like, it had some cool stuff.
You could have...
Like, it had some enjoyable shit. Like, there's something you could gain from, like...
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
That you could, like, take from this movie.
It was fun.
Because the car chases were fun. And I even asked this to you. Out of all this, like, kind of, like, pretty cool car chase scenes, the standoff scene, fucking, like, the fight in the fucking pit, even though it was dumb.
All the shit they were building up.
After all that shit... That is what they thought would be a cool climactic battle. Just two fucking dudes leaning over and not hitting each other for 5 minutes on a slow-ass chase scene to fucking culminate nothing at the end.
Oh, I hated this ending so much.
I fucking ruined the movie for me. Like, I hate those kind of endings.
Okay, like, the thought process... doesn't make sense to me at all, because it's like, even if you assume that this nonsense gets a sequel, even if you assume that, like every other movie that does this, where they get a sequel and the bad guy comes back, any other movie that does that still has an ending.
Yes,
there's still a confrontation. You don't just, like, when the credits rolled, I said, this feels like a TV show pilot.
Well, what's weird is they could have at least, like, I don't know, injured Jared or, like, something.
Well, anything.
But nothing, literally nothing happens to Jared.
It feels like a TV show pilot. Like the first episode of a TV show where they set everything up. They set up the good guys and the villains, and then, like...
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, and then now the next episodes are just go, right? Like,
and then it's just like...
the motivations,
It ends on a giant, nothing happens, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It feels like a TV show pilot, but it's not a TV show pilot. It's an hour-and-a-half long movie.
It just... I don't understand why they thought that was a good fucking idea. Because it wasn't.
It's baffling.
It is just insane to me because the rest of the movie is not that bad.
It's entertaining. It's fun. It's cute.
There's some world building
for a fucking ripoff movie.
Don't get me wrong. It's not a fucking good movie, and it just makes you want to watch Road Warrior. But like, at least it has something going on, right?
Yeah.
They kept you entertained, and then literally just fucking just.
Because if you really think about it, nothing matters. Like. The whole thing about the sacrifice, It doesn't matter.
The crystal mask that had like all this fucking lore around it
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. The
The
fucking
the whole thing with like the sand people, nothing.
doesn't matter.
Nothing matters. Like literally everything you build up for the whole fucking hour and a half movie
The
doesn't matter.
the end actually like ruins the watching experience if you know the
You
ending.
said you said yourself that they Game of Thrones did. And honestly they did because it's just like
Well, it's just like it all builds up to nothing. It all builds up to just like you're just sitting there like and you have no fucking answers for any of the shit that just happened, and they're just like, well, yep, that's how it ends, and you're just like, what?
because it's just like
It's just a waste. Honestly, the ending just makes it a fucking waste of time.
yeah, because
There's
nothing.
literally no fucking like reason you should ever watch this movie.
You don't get an awesome battle, an awesome duel, like
Well, like
nothing.
even like an awesome thing where like like the gruff like good guy like wins over the bad guy like and like
Like
you know like
that's what
every
I
other
wanted.
fucking movie like
That's all I wanted. All I wanted was a movie where he
you know
fucking
what would have been
beats
cool
the bad guy.
If they fought in the crystal realm, like if they fucking fought in those like hallucination things,
That would be perfect.
that'd been fucking awesome. Where
That's
like
the ideal, 'cause-
where like fucking Jared can manipulate everything and like you don't know if fucking like our main dude is gonna survive because like Jared can fucking like manipulate time and space in this realm, but he like overcomes him and tricks him and like beats
He
him.
beats him with his brain power, yeah.
Yeah, and they could have even had that and still had Jared be like, "I'll get you next time," and like just ended it. Something.
Other than a stupid, slow speeder chase.
I just it
Baffling.
just it's fucking it's I'm done with
I'm
this fucking
dumbfounded.
movie. Like shitty to pretty. I was gonna give it a fucking high rating if it didn't have that ending.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. If the movie just chugged along, I maybe would have given it like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah,
If that ending
it's
really.
it's gonna get a pretty low rating
If
for
that
me. I'm
ending
not-
stuck the landing, I would have given it like an 8. But boy, I gotta give it a 3. I just struggle.
I was almost gonna say a 2, but I think because of the entertainment value for the other stuff, a 3 is fair because the other stuff is entertaining.
But it's pointless. It
Don't
leads
watch
to
this
nothing.
movie. Just don't fucking go watch it. Like there's no reason.
Yeah, because they literally did the worst ending possible.
Like they don't even win. Like no one wins at the end, especially the viewer. Like
You, the viewer, lose unless you somehow think this is acceptable. But I just
well, because it's all pointless. Like how can you not look at that ending and think everything that led up to that is just pointless?
because it is pointless.
It's completely pointless.
Nothing. All that
Nothing comes to like an end, right? Like nothing reaches a head where they can finalize it and finish it, right? Nothing. It just ends on the fucking like biggest ass cliffhanger ever, and it's just like, yeah, here's the fucking lip dick cliffhanger. He's still alive and in the crystal realm and can appear anywhere. We're done. We didn't want to fucking try.
That's the thing. They didn't even try, unless they thought that was trying. But
Which is weird because they tried in the rest of the movie.
the rest of the movies they tried.
Like, if you're saying they didn't try and they have all those fucking cars exploding and, like, these high, like, I mean, not like, I shouldn't say high budget, but, like, at least a little bit decent budget.
Creativity.
Like, there was, like, that tent city. They did lots of world building. You're going to tell me that they just, at the end, they're just like, yeah, I don't fucking care about any of this anymore?
It's just baffling.
It's so weird. Because they do like a ton of world building. They do just so much world building with all these like different interesting characters. They do like all this shit with like crystals and how important they are.
and
They
crazy
build
powers.
they build all this like shit up with like the lore behind the crystal mask and like the native sand people like have this like fear of it because it's so powerful and like you take all that and you have that ending, it makes no fucking sense.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't either. I'm over it. I really am.
It kind of just makes me angry.
It really does because like
I'm just kind of
it had at
annoyed.
least a decent chance, like some decent potential to be an okay B movie.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't great, but it definitely wasn't bad,
No.
and they had potential to be a pretty decent B movie
A
that
fun
like
little, a fun ripoff.
I would pretty much like maybe recommend if you're looking for something like Mad Max. But there's no fucking way I'd recommend this movie now.
This deserves to
No.
stay. This deserves to stay buried.
And I will probably forget about it. I'm hoping I do.
I'm just that angry that I'm just gonna say no. This deserves to be ignored, forgotten.
Buried.
Like the people who made this, whoever decided on that ending, you should get fucking like whipped on the ass.
Yeah, I don't know who
I can't.
fucking decided that ending, but like you're a fucking
Even
idiot.
if you thought this was gonna get a fucking sequel, bold assumption. Even if you thought that,
Yeah,
you
like
should have at
even,
least given us something.
even if they're like, okay, we need to set up for a sequel, give us something. Don't give us just fucking what you gave us, which was absolutely
Nothing.
jack shit nothing.
Nothing.
It was just jack shit nothing.
No confrontation.
And
Nothing.
you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's just. I'm done. I'm angry. I'm just gonna keep ranting about how much I hate the ending of this movie if we keep going. So,
Fuck this movie.
yeah. So that was fucking. Metalstorm. The destruct. Yeah, destruction. Okay.
The destruction of the viewer.
Now that you think of the fucking title, the destruction of Jared, nothing fucking happened to Jared. He is fine.
Well, even the title gets limp dicked by the ending.
They just fucking micro penis the whole thing.
In the words of Don Corleone, look how they massacred my boy.
Look how they massacred my boy.
That's all I can say. I want to cry.
I do too. I'm gonna go weep.
I'm gonna go fucking cry like Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Yep.
That's me right now. Massacred.
So we might have one more episode, but this week. But also stay tuned for our live stream.
It is happening on Sunday.
Yep, it is happening on Sunday. We'll let you know when the time is. We'll schedule it out. It should be the same time we planned. But we'll let you know all the details coming soon. So make sure you go to our YouTube,
Please
subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we go live, so you can chat with us live and just have a good time watching us play shit games.
Yeah.
I got them all downloaded.
Us suffer.
Yes.
Pain.
And just drain. You can tell by the end of the live streams. It's hilarious if you're new. How drained we are by the end of it.
Nothing to say.
We're just shells.
Because
at first we're like hopeful. We're like
not hopeful, but we're having fun.
At least we're like talkative and everything. By the end of it, we just like are barely talking to each other.
Yeah.
We just like
our bodies are just filled with carbs. Our souls are just drained, and we're just like we have nothing to say.
But it's a good time. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's still fun.
I still have a good time with it.
You know.
Well, I mean, I have to like recoup after it, but
yeah, I mean, I usually just go home and collapse on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much me too, actually. So, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, so that was They Mostly Come Out at Night. I guess we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh fuck.
Oh my fucking god. What the fuck?
Oh god. They massacred my boy.
I fucking. Ugh.